Imagine this. It's a real pressure cooker moment. You are 10 minutes away from the start of a major elective surgery list.
So high stakes already.
Extremely high. The senior surgeon you're assisting arrives, and, well, they smell strongly of alcohol. Their movements are a bit unsteady, their speech is definitely slurred.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
when you notice, they insist, quite forcefully, that they are absolutely fine to work.
And that is the ultimate professional dilemma, isn't it? It tests everything, your integrity, your courage against immediate patient risk, and, that social pressure.
Exactly. So what on earth do you do in that 10-minute window? Okay, let's unpack this. Today's deep dive is all about mastering that professional duty, how to handle unsafe colleague behavior. This isn't just about an exam, it's about having a crystal clear GMC-aligned framework for acting immediately, fairly, and professionally.
It's rated as a moderate to hard topic for a reason. It's this real conflict between guaranteeing patient safety, which is always number one, and then also being fair and confidential towards your colleague. And our mission today is to give you the framework to navigate that based on what the GMC expects.
So before we go any further, we need to define our terms. When we say unsafe colleague behavior, what does that actually cover? It's got to be more than just, someone forgetting to fill in a discharge summary.
Oh, much, much broader. It's really anything that compromises the safety or integrity of patient care. So yes, it includes the obvious impairment like alcohol or drug use on duty, but it also extends to things like bullying.
Bullying, really?
Absolutely. Persistent toxic actions like bullying, harassment, serious boundary breaches, dishonesty, or even just a pattern of really significant clinical errors that suggest there's a deeper issue with their competence.
That definition is so much wider than I think people realize. It's not just about clinical skill, it's about character.
Yeah.
But that brings up that core tension, right? The GMC has this principle. Safety first, feelings second.
It does.
That is an incredibly difficult switch to flip, especially when you're standing next to a senior consultant you might really respect.
It's probably one of the hardest professional choices you'll ever make. And that's why having a structure is so important. The rule is absolute. Patient safety cannot wait. Your duty is really threefold.
Okay.
First, you protect patients immediately. You have to remove the risk. Second, you escalate your concerns through proper formal channels. And third, you support the colleague fairly, but only once that risk is contained.
So that sequence. Risk removal first, then formal escalation, then fair support. That's the one-liner takeaway.
That's it. If you keep that sequence in mind, protection, escalation, documentation, support, you're covering all your professional duties. In an exam, the points go to options that do that.
And it's critical to know that the assessment will actively penalize the things that might feel natural, as a friend or a junior colleague.
Like what?
Well, any option that suggests you keep it quiet, or you delay things, or you publicly shame the person, those will score very, very poorly. It demands swift, formal, and confidential action.
Let's ground this in the core GMC anchor points,
Well, yeah,
because they're actually quite simple when you boil them down.
Go on. There are three main directives. 1, you must act promptly to protect patient safety, no delays. 2, you must raise concerns using formal, auditable channels.
Not WhatsApp.
Definitely not WhatsApp. And 3, you must treat colleagues fairly and supportively, but safety always, always remains the priority.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. In our opening scenario with the surgeon, it's a massive red flag, but what are the other red flags that demand you intervene instantly? Where just waiting and observing is the wrong answer.
Instant action is needed when the risk is acute. So we have 4 main categories. First, suspected intoxication, drugs or alcohol. It's an immediate impairment of judgment.
Obvious. What's next?
Active bullying or harassment, especially when it's impacting clinical care. It's a red flag because it destroys psychological safety. People become afraid to speak up about errors.
And safety just dies in that environment. It dies. Third, any boundary or confidentiality breaches. Someone accessing records they shouldn't be, for example. The risk to patient trust is immediate. And finally, a pattern of repeated serious clinical errors that isn't being addressed.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's tackle the big FAQ that stops people in their tracks. Do you need absolute watertight proof before you raise a concern? Do I need to get a breathalyzer for the surgeon?
No. A definitive, absolute no. This is so important. You are not the investigator. Your job is to raise honestly held concerns based on what you observe.
The slurred speech, the smell of alcohol?
Exactly. The formal investigation is what establishes proof. If you delay because you're trying to gather evidence, you are putting your own comfort ahead of patient safety.
So delaying to find proof is seen as a failure of your duty.
A huge failure. Your job in that moment is to stop the potential harm, intervene, and then escalate.
Okay, so when you're in that high-pressure moment, you need a mental framework, something to stop you from just freezing.
This is where a stepwise approach is gold. We use the mnemonic ACTED. ACTED. Assess, cease, tell, engage, document. Let's apply it to that surgeon scenario.
Okay, step 1, A for assess.
Right. Assess the risk. You identify the specific risk. Here, it's acute impairment leading to a surgical error. You objectively note the facts. The smell, the slurring, the denial. It stops you from downplaying it.
And C for cease unsafe duty. This feels like the hardest part. How do you actually stop a senior consultant from operating?
This is the moment of truth. You have to be polite and professional, but firm. You say something like, I am concerned about immediate patient safety, and I cannot proceed with the list right now.
Oh.
You might need a plausible excuse. There's an urgent call I need to take, or a piece of kit is missing. The goal is just to halt things and get them away from the patient discreetly if you can.
So it's not about a public showdown. It's about a quiet, immediate stop to the risk.
Precisely. Which leads straight to T. Tell the right senior. Escalate. This is vital. You have to tell someone with the authority to actually make a decision stick.
So not just a colleague at your own level.
No. The duty consultant, the clinical lead for the department, the site manager, someone who can cover the list and start an investigation.
Okay, we've stopped the risk. We've told someone in charge. What's next?
E is for engage support. This is the fairness part. Once the immediate risk is managed, you have a duty to be compassionate. You might suggest to the senior you escalated to that an occupational health referral would be appropriate. You address the underlying cause.
And finally, D for document. Why is this so crucial?
Because you need an accountability trail. You document the objective facts. What you saw, who you told, what time, and what the plan was. It protects the patient, it protects the process, and it protects you.
It's all about using that structured professional language under pressure, isn't it? Instead of just panicking.
Yes. You might say, I'm concerned about patient safety, so I must halt clinical duties and inform the duty consultant now. It's clear, it's justified, and it states the next step.
And for the documentation.
Equally objective. For fairness and confidentiality, I'll record the objective facts and raise this through the formal governance route today. Clean, professional, auditable.
So now we know the ACTED framework. Let's talk about the traps. The things that feel right, but are professionally just wrong.
Yes, the assessment loves these.
Yeah.
The classic first crap is, let's keep it between us. I'll have a quiet word. Why is that a fail?
Because you're concealing risk. You might feel like a good friend, but you're now complicit in hiding a danger to patients. No formal action is taken.
Exactly. And the modern version, tell the team WhatsApp group.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a huge breach of confidentiality. It's not auditable. It's just gossip. You share on a strict need-to-know basis through official channels only.
And this one we've touched on, but let's nail it down. Wait for proof first, or I'll just monitor them for an hour.
It fails because any delay compromises patient safety. With suspected impairment, you act now. Minutes matter.
Right. And last one, the emotional one. Publicly confront and shame them.
That fails on 2 levels. It's not fair to the colleague, but more importantly, it creates a toxic culture. If people see that happening, they'll never speak up themselves in the future. You make the whole system less safe.
That's a brilliant point.
Let's do some quick practical questions. Who specifically do I tell first?
Someone with the authority to act now. The duty consultant, the clinical lead, the hospital site manager, someone who can enforce the removal from duty.
And what if the impaired person is the most senior person there? What if it's the consultant on the list and there's no one else around?
The principles do not change. You still stop the risk. Then you escalate above them. You call the medical director, the on-call executive, the site manager. Your duty to the patient trumps the hierarchy. Always.
And you document who you called and when?
You document everything. The hierarchy ends where patient safety begins.
Okay, finally, let's just nail that balance again. Safety versus support.
The sequence is everything. You remove the immediate risk first. That's the C step. Then you offer compassionate support through formal routes, like an occupational health referral. Risk control always has to come before support. That's how you are both safe and fair. So to bring this all together for you, remember the 3 absolute imperatives. 1, safety first. Stop the unsafe practice immediately. 2, use formal, confidential escalation routes like your clinical director. And 3, Offer fair formal support like an OH referral, but only after the risk is controlled, and document everything.
That structure gives you the confidence you need in what is, let's be honest, a terrifying situation.
That brings up a final thought. We mentioned using formal routes like the governance team or the freedom to speak up guardian.
Right, the FTSU Guardian.
So what if you do everything right? You escalate a genuine concern to your immediate senior, and you get blocked or dismissed, or you even feel unsafe because of their reaction. What happens then?
That's the next level of this. The lesson here is that there's always a recognized route higher up, or even outside the immediate management line, that is designed specifically to protect patients. And knowing that that pathway exists is the final piece of the puzzle, something for you to mull over.